Hello, this is Jamie Mitchell, and we are back for another episode of Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. So first we have just another little oopsie from the smartest genius in the world, and that's a post from CH4Locks, and that's a cross post from the Enlightened Centrism subreddit. Sums up the Mustang salute for me, and that's a tweet from looks like Dreamleaf. And it says the far left, it's the despair Wojak. Elon Musk just did a Nazi salute on live TV, and then the center Wojak says, "No, you're missing the context. It was an accident. He didn't mean to do that." And the far right Wojak is in the Nazi outfit. He says, "Oh, Elon Musk just did a Nazi salute on live TV." And yeah, my personal thoughts are, I personally could see an argument that he did kind of a vague gesture on purpose to get people talking, but that's about as far as I go. I personally don't think it was a Nazi salute, but regardless, believe whatever you want to. But it increasingly seems like, the official narrative is you need to believe it was a Nazi salute, and if you don't say that, then you're a Nazi. And yeah, I personally don't care for that. If you want to believe it's a Nazi salute, that's fine, but don't force your beliefs on others. And yeah, and now because of this whole Nazi salute thing, Reddit is saying, "Oh, we gotta ban all links to Twitter because Elon's a Nazi." And yeah, that's you're just using it as an excuse for censorship and to push people to woke Twitter in blue sky, and I don't think that's very libertarian. I think libertarian is you should be able to share from whatever platform you want to, and yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. Also, you can also find images of people like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris doing kind of a Nazi salute, but they'd never call them out on that. It's only because a member of the out group did it rather than a member of the in group. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have All Americans Legally Female. Trump invites mockery of sloppy executive order from allstory.com by Chalbersma. And yeah, I personally do think, the language of the executive order is kind of weird, and it's saying, oh, all people are starting born with female parts, we're getting male parts if they're males in about 6 weeks in, I think. But that's why I don't think the government should have business in gender or sex. And I think we gotta get the government out of every definitions of everything, and that includes sex and gender. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. I personally don't care for, stuff like biological males competing in sports meant for biological females, but, it should be up to the individual decision rather than the state. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Meta under fire for auto-following Trump and Vance, blocking Democrat hashtags from TechIssuesToday.com by Donald Key, and that's crosswords from the technology subreddit. And yeah, I personally, as I said earlier, I don't care for censorship of any kind, so I personally think this goes against free speech and freedom of expression. But on Reddit, they're trying to stifle links to X and increasingly Facebook and Meta as well, because they're seen as being up to into MAGA. And I don't think that's good either. But Reddit would never call them out for that, because that's good censorship rather than bad censorship. It's like when Republicans censor, it's OMG, that's the worst thing ever. But when Democrats censor, it's yes, Queen, slay those chuds. So it just goes to show you how most people don't really have any principles other than in-group good, out-group bad. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have deportation as punishment for a sermon. GOP is going full Hitler here, from thehill.com by CH4Locks, and that's crosspost from the Iron Front USA subreddit. And yeah, I personally don't think that's very good, but it's just something that Trump would say to get people riled up. I don't think he's actually going to deport her, even because he's a U.S. citizen. So yeah, it's just more kind of DNC propaganda gobbledygook. That is pretty much all the subreddit is at this point. Then we have Trump's pardon liberates Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht from bitdegree.org by Webs Free. And Yeah, I personally do think that's good. As I think I said in the previous episode, Trump might occasionally endorse libertarian policy like pardoning Ross Ulbricht or, privatizing USPS or getting it out of the World Health Organization. But, just because he does some libertarian policy sometimes doesn't make him libertarian. I can point to libertarian policies that Obama and Biden supported, but that doesn't make them libertarians either. And that's my thoughts on that issue. But regardless, I do think this is a good thing from a libertarian perspective. Then we have Libertarian Party just said fuck the non-aggression principle from Ragnar OKXG, and that's a post on Facebook from Libertarian Party of Broward County. Adulthood is realizing the high school bully is the good guy. He served as the bulwark against degenerate antisocial behaviors and enforced normality. It's not a coincidence that society started going downhill when anti-bullying campaigns started being enforced in schools. And I personally would disagree with that. I personally don't care for bullying, but it's especially. But I think if people want to bully, that they should be able to. But I personally don't really care for it, especially since social media is all full of right-wing bullies who go after people who dissent from their official narrative at all, and then left-wing bullies who pretty much do the same thing. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Trump admin orders federal health agencies to halt communications from Axios.com. And yeah, I personally don't really care for that. I guess you could make an argument that it's being done in the name of transparency because they used to be communicating about how, Dr. Fauci said, oh, we need to manipulate the media to make sure to not have people blame COVID on us. So I guess that it's good in that thing, but I do think, if people do want to communicate however they want to, they should be able to, even if it might be considered illegal to do so. I personally do think the government should be transparent as possible, but I don't know if I do think people should have the right to communicate and privatize whatever they want to, even if they are in a government position. So that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Reddit Q&A from Long Jumping Gain 807. And they said, hi, so I made message to mods about these extras. You'll make a post this here. On this Thursday from 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m., Patrick J. Como and Dylan Moore from the Institute for Justice have graciously agreed to be part of Reddit Ask Me Anything. I want to thank both of them for agreeing to be a part of this in the first of its kind over on r/Supreme Court. I would love for some of the people in the space to come over to that space and ask questions of them. They are very experienced and talented lawyers, so I'll tell you more about them and the organization. And they go over all the stuff that they did. It's kind of long, so I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. I might take part. I don't know if I'll take part in it, but if people want to take part in asking them questions, I think they should be able to. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have the so-called free speech from Ragnar OKX and that's crosspost from the Murder by Word subreddit. That's a tweet from Elon Musk. Defund Wikipedia until balance is restored. And that was him quoting out for McWaters. Wikipedia is completely ideologically captured, deserves zero intonation until they rebalance. And you showed a graph mentions the political extremism in English Wikipedia. Far left is around 4,000, far right is around 14,000. And then Jay Nectar replies, calling to defund Wikipedia because they verified that you did Nazi steal on live television. How communist of you. And yeah, I personally don't really care for Wikipedia. I do actively use it, but like Reddit, it's something that is kind of inherently left-wing biased, and that's why I use it to try and at least provide a dissenting voice on that front. But yeah, I think if people do want to donate to Wikipedia, they should be able to. But I think they shouldn't be forced to if they don't want to. And I would agree with the fact that they deserve $0 in donations until they try and politically moderate themselves. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have breaking. Donald Trump has ordered a communications blackout as America's federal health agencies, the CDC, FDA, HHS, and NIH, have all been told to pause external communications, including publishing scientific reports, updating websites, or issuing health advisories. From Donald Keene, that's crossovers from the Fluid and Finance subreddit. And yeah, I personally don't really care for any of those free letter agencies, but I think people should be able to justify what they just want to justify doing. And yeah, I personally do think, I think we should get rid of them all in the first place, but, they should be able to justify whatever they want to. I don't think Trump and the position of authority should be telling them what they can and can't do. But, I think libertarian position is just get rid of them all in the first place, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have exclusive Trump likely to axe Space Council after SpaceX lobbying, sources say from Reuters.com by Ninja Lover, and that's crosswords from the r/space subreddit. And yeah, I personally don't care for lobbying, but this is more just a Tesla man bad Fred on top of Orange man bad. So, as I said, like the rest of the subreddit is pretty much all just DNC propaganda gobbledygook at this point. Then we have Trump admin fires security board investigating Chinese hack of large ISPs from ArsTechnica.com by Ninja Lover. And yeah, that's the crosspost from the technology subreddit. And yeah, I personally would be interested in having investigation done on that front. But if Trump wants to fire them, then he should be able to do so. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Trump signs the executive order declaring everyone a female, and in parentheses, religious dogma versus reality from Mashable.com by C.H. Relax, and that's crossments from the r/law subreddit. And yeah, we talked about that in earlier, but yeah, just goes to show you how the government can, they might have, it might be well intentioned, but just because something's well intentioned doesn't mean it'll be inherently good results. And yeah, so I personally think, if people do want to declare themselves a male or a female, they should be able to, but I don't think the government should be declaring who is a male and who is a female. I think that should be up to each individual's interpretation. I personally would say biological male, biological female, with a few fringe cases of I think it's Klinefelter syndrome and that, but yeah, that's my definition, but you should have your own definition. Don't let anyone tell you what definitions you can and can't have. Then we have CBS 58 Weather reporter Sam Kuffel is out after criticizing Elon Musk's Nazi salutes. Edited title from JSOnline.com by Dr. 07. And yeah, I personally don't care for cancel culture. I think if she wanted to criticize his gesture, I think she should have been able to. But with that being said, cancel culture only seems to go one way when it comes to Reddit. They don't care when Gina Carano gets fired from her job acting for The Mandalorian. They only care when the in-group gets canceled rather than the out-group. And that's my thoughts on that issue. So yeah, I think if they wanted the company wanted to fire her, that they should have been able to. But with that being said, I personally don't care for it. But it's all freedom of association, if you ask me. And that's my thoughts on there. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.